the other was named Pablo. He was younger, but he had this reputation of dragging female researchers down the mountain by their hair. So I tried to stay near Ziz, because if I was near Ziz, Pablo wouldn't come over and try to mess with me. But Ziz that day was in a bad mood because he kept staring at me, and I never stared at him because, you know, you don't make eye contact. But at some point soon after we got there, I was, you know, Simon was down there and Ziz was over here. I'm up on a hill, and Ziz suddenly stood up and beat his chest and came roaring up the hill at me and knocked me down. And then for a few minutes stood over me, beating his chest and displaying and pulling up trees. And, you know, I just stayed as still as I could. And then after a while I heard him go up a little further and start terrorizing a female gorilla who I'm sure was representing me. Anyway, I waited for a while, and then I picked up my notebook and started to make notes again because I wanted Simon to be able to use it. And finally, when my heart slowed down, I started crawling away into the bushes, and I ran into this scientist who was sort of there as a liaison from the Karasoki Research Institute. He said, well, he had a huge grin on his face. He'd been waiting for this to happen to the Hollywood people since we got there. And he said, well, you just joined a very exclusive club. You've just been hit by a silverback gorilla. And I said, yes, yes, yes. And the funny thing was, my husband arrived 2 nights later. We'd only recently gotten married. And he watches his little wife, you know, sitting up there with her notebook, and suddenly this huge gorilla fills the frame, runs up, knocks her down, and he's just thinking, what is she doing here? But I always felt Diane wanted this movie made, and that I was never afraid. I was briefly afraid of Ziz because he could have hurt me by mistake. If I had panicked, it would have been another story. I did not panic. I knew not to panic. But I was never afraid because they're really very gentle. Man is much more dangerous.
You know, that's it. Without sounding condescending or anything, I'm impressed and proud of what you were able to do, because someone in your position and who you are in those Hollywood tights, I mean, if it had been me, I would have been making a note in my book, okay, get the gorilla fired, fire the trainer. So the fact that you know, you did what you were supposed to do, and then of course continued filming it, made this amazing film. I mean, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I never felt in any danger from them. They are, and also I knew that this would help save the mountain gorillas, and I think we did contribute to letting people know about it so that, you know, people like Jason could go and work with them. And I feel now the gorillas, I think there were about 280 gorillas when I made the movie, and now there are about 450. And the Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund International, of which I'm still the honorary chair, is one of the most forward-thinking groups in terms of working with, you know, working with other NGOs in the Congo and in Rwanda and in Uganda to work with the local human populations to get their health in good shape and educate all the communities so that they're really the people taking care of their gorilla communities. You have to support the humans in order to support the animals. And I think that Diane Fossey has really, her fund has really showed how important that is.
Thank you. For anyone who hasn't seen gorillas in this, you have to get it. So, guys backstage, I see your note, but just give me a couple of seconds, because can I ask her a few more questions, guys, from here? Is that all right with you? We just want to get to know you just a little bit, because we've learned about, you know, Ripley and everybody, but Abby from Edmonton asks, are there any characters that you've portrayed that you wish that you could have explored more?
You know, it feels like there's always another character to explore. You know, in this business, things change so quickly. So I feel like even if you have a small part in something, you kind of play the whole thing, even if in the movie you don't see that much of them. So I think that you kind of finish the job. I don't have that feeling about the characters I played. I kind of feel like I inhabited them so totally for actually a period of months, regardless of how much is in the movie, and I got to know them really well, so I'm ready to move on. It's an interesting question.
This one, it didn't have a name, but I like the question, so I want to ask it. What was your reaction when you heard that you were nominated for Best Actress for the Academy Awards for Aliens? What was your reaction?
I think shock and disbelief, probably. I was actually meeting with the producers from Gorillas in the Mist at that very moment, so it was like, you know, they listened to me more carefully after I was nominated. They wanted me actually to sort of try to bond with chimps in captivity in order to prepare for this role. And I said, you know, I think that's a really terrible idea because chimps in captivity are notoriously neurotic. And these gorillas that are in the wild are in their own world, and I come into their world. That's the whole point. I'm not dealing with animals that I've made wear clothes and come into my world. So anyway, so they listened to me much more carefully that day. But of course, I was very honored, and I felt I was, you know, representing everyone's work in the movie. You know, that they had chosen me, but it was really about the ensemble.
Simone C. from Watford, England, wants to know, what movie is your guilty pleasure when you just fancy watching a cheesy fun flick at home?
Well, I'm very cheesy. I have to say that anything with Jason Bateman, I just love him. I really love those old Roman movies, you know. I mean, Gladiator is of course great, but even and Ben-Hur, but even the old terrible ones, you know, where they're looking for, you know, Jesus's robe or what have you, you know, they're just, I guess I grew up on them and I just find them endlessly fascinating.
And along the same lines, what book are you reading right now?
I just read the greatest book, and it's why I'm wearing this. A young lady I signed an autograph for gave it to me. It's called The Tiger by John Vaillant, and actually he's a Canadian who lives in Vancouver. It's a non-fiction book that's so suspenseful. It takes place outside of Vladivostok in the area they call the Taiga, T-A-I-G-A, and it's about this attack of an Amur tiger, A-M-U-R, on these local inhabitants in this very small, isolated village, and what happens to the village and what happens to the tigers, and it's breathtaking. His name is John Vaillant, V-A-I-L-L-A-N-T. I really recommend it.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to bring out a special guest really quick. This is actually one of the people who is responsible for bringing you here. Could you, Calgary, give it up for Emily Expo, please?
We wanted to think of something special to present to you to commemorate your visit to us here in Calgary. And I kept trying to think of, what am I going to say to you? And all these rambling speeches that went on for probably hours kept rolling through my head. And finally a friend of mine, my very good friend Katrina, she summed it up so beautifully when she said, I am so happy that young women are being born into a world with you in it. I kept thinking about that, and no matter what speeches I sort of went through, it always came back to that. You're an incredible woman and an incredible inspiration. And Robert Bailey is he's a wonderful artist, and he has done some amazing art for you on this occasion to commemorate your visit to us here, and we wanted to present that to you today.
Robert and all of you for these beautiful, beautiful drawings. But Emily, you know, I mean, they're coming into a world with women like you too, so it's pretty awesome. Women are awesome, and that's why I love doing what I do, because women are my greatest inspiration. We are just, you know, unpredictable and remarkable and very worth studying. So.
To wrap this up, if Sigourney would like to take one more quick seat, as this is a great way to end the Q&A. Yeah. Can we bring the cameraman over here? She wants to have everybody get a really good look. Right here, Sigourney. Oh, I might have to steal that one. Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Just shared that story about the gorilla, and this was not pre-planned, guys, and that's the picture he presented her. That's like it was meant to be. That's amazing. That's amazing. So, this is how we'll end it. Sylvan M. from Canada. Is where? Way in the back? Hello! You get the last question of the day! What are 5 things that you want to tell your younger self? And we have all night.
That's an evil question. Try to keep it clean. Let's see. You know, I would have to say, I would definitely say, I really would say this to all young people, especially young people who are talented and really driven to make their mark and express themselves and get their work out in the world. I would have to say, don't drive yourself crazy. It will happen. You have to put your energy into it coming true rather than worrying that it won't. You know, I would tell my younger self not to worry about stupid stuff, you know, just to enjoy the moments, even the moments before you know, all the moments I had when I worked off of Broadway in New York with my friend Christopher Durang doing all his crazy shows, you know, playing a girl with a hedgehog in her vagina and all this stuff. That's where I learned to do what I do, and I'm so glad that I had that time, and I wasn't this like overnight sensation, you know. You have to enjoy the time when you're not successful. Enjoy the time when you're really working hard and questioning everything and working with your friends and in a garage or whatever, you know. This is the most precious time you'll have, is these early days just with your mates, you know, fucking around. This becomes the base for your whole life. And so it's very important to appreciate how valuable it is.
Just a quick note to everyone, we're in informing us that all checked weapons have been moved to the Big 4 building. Please check under your seats when you exit the building. Try not to leave your kids behind. Anyway, Sigourney, as a fan, as a professional, as a human being, it took almost 2 years with working with your team to get you here, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for agreeing to come.